Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing a top 10 video. Mother of pearl. And the top 10 video we are doing today is my top 10 most worn fragrances for spring and summer 2022. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. Start as you mean to go on. So, it was strange old spring and summer. Summer never really got going until like mid-July, and then suddenly it was the hottest summer ever. 40 Celsius in Britain. That is not supposed to happen in this country. We are not built for that at all. The animals, the infrastructure, the people, nothing. Nothing in this country is supposed to deal with temperatures like that. I do not recommend it to you. But I survived. Thank God. Anyhow, I have spent a good couple of hours going back over Fragrantica's recorded, like where you do your perfume timeline. And I counted everything up because there's no feature on Fragrantica to do that, which there is on Base Notes, which tempts me mightily. Make my life a lot easier. But I've tallied everything up and checked it twice. And now I can present to you this season's list. And coming in at 10th place is a fragrance I love. But you don't always wear the fragrances you love the most. Especially when you've got rules around what you wear. I never wear the same fragrance twice in a row, like 2 days in a row. That's one of the only rules. And I only use fragrances that I have put into my seasonal rotation. They're the rules. I can wear things twice, 3 times in a week. I can wear anything that's in that rotation in any order. But I usually go with what the weather's going to be like. So, in 10th place, a fragrance I love. A fragrance you might love. It's very well known. And that fragrance is Dior Homme by Dior. This was being worn, I would say, earlier in the season, in spring, and maybe in early summer a little bit, but it is quite thick. You could wear it in heat, no doubt, but it's got the iris, it's got chocolate. It's dense. Even this original version. I've also got the black stem, which you can see here. Oh, pants. Which you can see here, which I also wore. But I decided to present to you today the vintage bottle. And I can't remember how many times I wore this, but it was a few. I do like wearing this. It's a fabulous fragrance. This is one of the rare fragrances that can go into both my autumn and winter lists. So it's no wonder to see this appear. There's also another fragrance in here that I have worn a lot, that I wear in both seasons, which I will come to. I think it's in 3rd or 4th. But anyway. Number 9. Number 9 shall not come as a surprise to anybody who has been watching this channel. I became very, very enamored with it. I keep falling in love with it every year. And this fragrance is recently discontinued. It was discontinued in the last year or two, and it's a crying shame because this is exactly what designer perfume should be like, and that is Roadster by Cartier. This Iquitos is not going to behave. This is bergamot and mint, which combine at the top to give this apple kind of vibe. And then it's got a big patchouli in the base, but it's a clean and fresh patchouli. You can do so much with patchouli that it's no surprise to see it in the base of so many perfumes because it anchors things, it gives them weight. The performance on this is fantastic, especially for a mint-based fragrance. A lot of mint fragrances don't last very long, but this one does. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's one of my favourite fragrances, to be honest with you. It's definitely in the top 40, and when you've got 400 plus fragrances, that says a lot, you know. Next, number 8. This is definitely a fragrance I wore earlier in the season as well. And this is Vintage or Original Herís by Hermes. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. This, as the bottle says on the back, is a Soliflor Iris. Awesome fragrance. Got this from Enchanté. It is just iris, frankly. And it was made by, I think, Olivia Giacobetti in 99. I want to say, maybe 2001. I think it was 99. You can still get this today, and it's still good, but it doesn't perform like this anymore, and it's not as natural smelling. I love this bottle as well. The picture, especially on my camera, isn't great, so it doesn't do justice to the color of this. It's much deeper and richer and more purple than it comes across on camera. On my camera, at least. And I love it. I love picking it up. I love the feel of these Hermes bottles. They're beautiful. So that was number 8. Number 7. Sorry, I'm just giving each of these a sniff before I go through them, so it reminds us. This is Paris Edinburgh by Chanel. I wore this earlier in the season, but I also wore it late in the season too, because it cooled down right at the end of August, I think. This is the heaviest of the Paris series of fragrances, you know. This is Juniper Berry, which I love. One of my favourite top notes. Gives a sparkle without being aldehydic. You know, not too keen on aldehydes, but I do like the sparkle and the fizz that this gives. It's absolutely beautiful. It also has lavender. It's a deep, rich lavender, which I really enjoy. The performance is really good, actually, for these. I've also got Paris Biarritz, and the performance on that is shocking. Shocking. It doesn't perform well whatsoever, to be honest with you. But this one does. You get between 4 and 5 hours. Very good quality, very sparkly, very fizzy, and then it dries down. Not austere, but maybe regal might be the way to put it. Understated, but quality. It's a fantastic fragrance. Now, what do we have here? Number 6. Number 6 won't come as a surprise either, but you'll see the dent I've already put in it. And this is Escale en Haiti by Les Indomptables. Again, Another fabulous fragrance. Obviously, I'm going to say all of these are fantastic. But I really, really enjoyed wearing this year. Vetiver, ambergris, a little bit of citrus at the top. This is a magnificent fragrance. It really is. The performance isn't bad. It's an eau de cologne intense. So, just says eau de cologne. I'm sure it's an eau de cologne intense, though. It is strong for what it is for being an eau de cologne. I get about 4 hours out of it, which is better than almost any other eau de cologne. The price is really fair as well. It's 140 quid for 100 mil. You will pay more for worse fragrances and worse performing fragrances as well. The Guerlain Aqua Ligorias at retail are just under what this is, probably about 10% cheaper. So it's like 120, 150, 120 for 120 mil. You know, they're not. I don't think they're as good as these two colognes from Les Indomptables. Definitely worth checking out if you're somebody who wants to pay a little bit extra and get a quality fresh scent for spring and summer. You could do a lot worse than this, and samples are available if you ask. If you get in touch with the people from Les Indomptables, they will send you samples of it if you order a sample set. Now, the top 5. And number 5 is today's scent of the day. Sorry, I just have to spray this because I've used so much of it, it's nearly empty. This is one of my favourite fragrances. And it is a fragrance which can be used in any season. And I do wear it in any season. Any reason to wear this in any season. And this is, of course, Luciano Pavarotti. This is probably the best celebrity fragrance of all time. This or Riquitos for me. I can't see past either of these. And frankly, if you put a gun to my head and said, which do I prefer? Probably Pavarotti, yeah. It's unbelievably good. Patchouli, honey, citrus at the top. It's blended so well. Made by perfumer David Appel, who, as far as I can tell, David Appel has not made any other fragrances that I'm aware of. Or maybe he has, I'm just not aware of them. So that's a shame. I wish I knew of any other. If anybody knows, please let me know, because I would like to investigate more of his work. This is drastically good, dramatically good. I would highly recommend everybody to go out there and look for these if you can find them. I have a lot, which I will not be selling, because it is one of my favourite fragrances. This is a 125ml bottle, and I would say I've got about 35ml left, maybe. I've put a large hole in this bottle, and I will use it and then move on to the next one I've got, because I have plenty backups. Absolutely amazing fragrances. Definitely a top 5 for me, ever. Okay. Next we have another fragrance that fits in both sides of the rotation. Spring, summer, autumn and winter. You will catch me wearing this at any time. You know? I didn't realise how much I really enjoyed this stuff, but you will see by the dent I've put in the bottle and the amount of times I've wore it, just how versatile and how much I like this fragrance. And this fragrance is a Guerlain. And it is L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme Eau de Parfum. I prefer this to the vintage. I've got to be honest, Eugene very kindly sent me a bottle of the Eau Extreme, which is the precursor to this. And I got it and promptly cracked the bottle somehow, which wasn't very nice or clever. So I had to decant it. But I've got to be honest, I reach for this a lot more. Once this bottle's finished, I'll go through the Eau Extreme, you know. I'll use that one before I crack open another bottle of this, because I do want to get to know that one better. There are subtle differences. For me, this is a little sharper at the top. It's a little bit more like the EDT. There's more citrus, but also the cacao in the bottom's more dusty and a little bit cleaner, and I really like that about it. You will never smell bad wearing this. This doesn't get as much love as it used to, which is a shame. This was an absolute darling a few years ago. And the Eau Extreme was... The Eau Extreme was one of the first discontinued fragrances to get hyped up massively. You know? It was a shock when it was discontinued and replaced, and people were absolutely aghast. I didn't know the Eau Extreme for the longest time, actually, until I think it was Eugene sent me that bottle. And then I realised that I actually preferred this version, and I think there is something in that. The first version you smell and fall in love with will always stick out to you. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. And for me, that's what this is. This is a wear anytime, any place. You can't smell out of place in this. You know? You could play sports in this if you wanted to. You could go to dinner in this. You could go to the opera in this. You could meet the king now if you wanted to wearing this. And no one would say you smelled bad. And if they did, there's something wrong with them, not you. Okay. Top 3. And this next one is definitely a spring and summer fragrance for me, but it has got some weight. Okay. And I really like that about it. It is also very soft. This reminds me in performance of Lupin Voyou by Guerlain, in that you could spray 50 sprays of this on and it wouldn't overpower anybody. It's not that kind of fragrance. It's very soft, and they're both sandalwood. Voyou and this are sandalwood-based fragrances. And if you haven't guessed what it is so far, then I will tell you. And it is Santal Messiah by Hermes from the Hermes collection, Hermes Essence collection. It is sugar, fruit, milk, sandalwood, and Messiah. There's some florals in here, but they're nondescript. I don't rate Jean-Claude Eleanor as highly as a lot of people do in the community. I think he's very overrated, if you want the truth. And this is not the greatest perfume in the world, but the fact I wore it the third most should tell you what kind of perfume this is. It's very versatile. You can't really go wrong wearing it. There's not a wrong time to wear this. You know? It's clean, it's soft, it's fresh. It's got that coconutty sort of vibe, which I think comes from the milk and the Messiah combining to give that. It's a little strange. You'll see the dent I've put in it. I've only started wearing it this year, but that's how I wear this fragrance. I just throw it on as much as I possibly can. Performance isn't huge, as I've just explained, but it is a very easy wear. And if you are looking for something that will not offend, if you're looking for something that won't upset, but you will still be able to smell yourself because it sits very close, but it will stay with you, this is a fragrance to explore. It's very nice. Top 2. Exciting. And number 2 comes in again as one of my favourite fragrances. I can't believe how much of this I've used. Bear in mind, this is a 180 ml bottle, right? So I must have used about 70 mils of this. 60 maybe. This is Loewe Pour Homme. I can't tell you how good this smells when it's hot. It still has base though. Big oak moss in the base, a big oak mossy base. But at the top you get this bright, fresh, brilliant lemon. And I hate lemon, but I really like this. It works beautifully in here. And the lemon lasts. But as it tapers off, the mid note comes in, and for me, the mid note's the star of the show, and it's this lavender, right? And it's almost like a laundry detergent lavender, and it almost smells like laundry detergent, right? But in a really good way. Do you know when your neighbour's just done their washing and they've just hung it out, and it's a hot day, but there's a breeze, and you go out into your garden and you can smell their fresh linen, fresh laundry. That's what it smells like. It's fresh, it's clean, it smells like white laundry, you know, like white shirt sort of thing. It's got that. And then it's also got this oak moss in the base, which gives it this richness and this depth and this masculinity. It's fantastic. I will be very upset when this runs out, and I will get through this bottle at some point. It might take years, but I will get through it. There are other fragrances I own that I think I'll never get through that. But this one, I will. It's so easy to wear. It's so easy to wear. You know, some fragrances are hard to wear and you've got to pick a time. You don't have to with this. Very much like Linstone and Dior Homme, to be fair. You don't have to worry about this fragrance. It will never let you down. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend that you check it out if you can. Whoops. Stop picking things up by the lid. Now, we come to the top spot, and since you haven't seen it so far, and if you've been following me over the past 6 to 8 months, you will know exactly what's about to come, and it will come as no surprise. But this is the smell of summer 2022 for me. It was released by Frederic Malle in 2009. It was made by Dominic Ropion. And it is Geranium Pour Monsieur. Ladies, don't let the Pour Monsieur put you off. I'd love to smell you in this. It is, and it has been, absolutely perfect for the spring and summer. This is what I wore on the hottest days of the year. It's a cooling fragrance. It's all about geranium. It's all about like this mint. And at the top, there's also, and I didn't know this until September after I stopped wearing it and I was reading up about it. It's also got, it's not licorice, it's star anise at the top. And that makes perfect sense because it's got this tiny, tiny bit of like spice and cleanness about it. There's also clove, which makes a lot of sense too. Desperately trying to remember the other notes in it because I did try and make a point of that. Clove, geranium, star anise, mint, musk, benzoin, sandalwood. Don't get so much of, I think they're just supporting notes. I think they help the other notes, but the main notes to me are geranium, the star anise, the mint, and the clove. And the rest is just there to add some sort of backup, you know, to flesh, a bit of flesh on that scaffold, on them bones. This is immense. I highly recommend it to you. And for me, it was the smell of summer 2022. So this brings us to the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed my top 10 fragrances for spring summer 2022. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. I will see you again.